Welcome to Chargeheads. We're here at ECOClassics with Nick. Nice to meet you, Nick.
Good to meet you too, Tim.
You've got some fantastic things in your workshop and a rather nice green Porsche outside as well that we're looking to have a drive of later. But yeah, I mean, Nick, where did it all start? I mean, where did it start for you from an electric point of view?
From an electric point of view, so I worked for Ford for 22 years.
Yeah.
And the last probably 2 or 3 years of my career there was working on electric vans.
Okay.
So PHEV transit and then into the electric transit. So that's kind of where I understood the electric powertrain side of things. But at the same time, I was electrifying my Lotus 11, which we can probably take a peek at later on.
Excellent.
So yeah, that was really it. It was a bit of fun, bit of understanding, doing, there's nothing better than doing it yourself, right? And actually understanding all the background to it. And then thought, actually, there's an opportunity here to start a business.
And then the ECOClassics, that was a little...
But at the time I had a full-time job working for Ford, but the opportunity came along to leave Ford.
Okay.
And I took that with open arms, took the money.
Ran out the door?
Ran out the door and then invested the money in this, right? So that's kind of where it started, and that was December, just before COVID struck. So you can imagine, I then wondered what I'd done.
Yeah.
And it took quite a long time to sort of figure out that there was a marketplace there. Yeah. And start talking to customers, both private customers, companies, and start building something. Yeah. And I think now we've reached critical mass. Probably gone beyond critical mass, if I'm quite honest. It's really taken off. So we're in a great position now.
Well, you don't just do EV conversions. You're helping manufacturers do electric versions of their cars, aren't you? Yeah. And then there's a few other projects as well. So we seem to have a plethora of.
We split it into three areas really. One is classic conversions, which is where we started, and I'm passionate about cars, right? Yep. So always had a classic, be it my first car was a 1930s Austin 7 that I built. Wow. I built everything on the car, right? So that's kind of where I cut my teeth. I've had countless modern classics. I've got an E-Type. I've got all sorts of stuff.
Lots of toys.
Stashed away around the place, right? And probably far too many cars for my wife, but that's just normal.
That's any car has always got too many cars.
So classic conversions is where it really started. Yeah. Then we've got into working with companies. Yep. So the Porsche you drive later on is done with Design 911. Yep. So we've partnered up with them to do all sorts of different Porsche conversions from 911s, 912s, 914s.
Awesome, yeah.
And then parts supply. So we will offer parts to whoever wants to go and convert their car. Excellent. And technical support. So it's all sorts of different things. And
a car that certainly won me over, and also my wife. She sat in one at Goodwood Revival and she didn't want to get out of it until I paid a check. Managed to get her out in the end. Yeah. But the Chesil Speedster, I mean...
Yes, that's an interesting one, right? So through converting my Lotus 11, which was a Westfield kit, Westfield actually approached us and said, what have you done? Right, what's it all about? They took the car away during lockdown, so I lent them the car for a month. They drove it, liked it, and then approached us about the Chesil Speedster and said, what can you do for us? They'd already got a conversion in there that had a gearbox onto a Hyper 9 motor, but they wanted direct drive.
This was the electric classic car conversion, because it was on an episode of Vintage Voltage, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah.
No, I do remember seeing that.
So then they just approached us because they wanted something a little bit different, right? They didn't want the gearbox in there. Yeah. They wanted a direct drive system, which we could offer them. And then it snowballed from there, really, because we've now converted a Lotus 7 for them and another Lotus 11. So they've electrified their lineup now through us. And hopefully we'll start production of electric Chesils very soon.
It's an interesting time, and it's great to come to your workshop and seeing how you do things. And,
our humble workshop.
Yeah, well,
it's an old cowshed.
Well, it's fine
down here. Yeah.
No, but yeah, it's great, and thanks for that, and thanks for the introduction. And let's see what else you've got in the workshop.
Yep, I'll take you for a walk round.
Great. So here we've got one of your EV conversions, and I see that the Chargeheads air freshener is still hidden from fully charged show.
Yeah, it certainly is. Good smell there. I like that.
Oh, good. Chose the right one. So yeah, tell me a bit about the EV conversion.
Yeah, so this is a 1962 E-Type Jaguar, Series 1. Had a 3. Well, it should have had a 3.8, but it actually had a 4.2.
Right.
So which kind of made it, dare I say, a little bit more acceptable to convert it to electric, because there are people that hate us as well, right? So
no, never met them.
They haven't quite seen the light yet, obviously.
So this has already been modified, so it was a little bit more acceptable to...
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
So the customer came to us and said, what can you do for us?
Yep.
We wanted to replicate the original performance of the car, right?
Yeah.
It's 1960s Tourer, right? So it's not sports car come Tourer. So it was really not about giving it raw power. It was much more refined. So we tried to replicate the XK engine.
Yeah, and you've done that with a specific motor, haven't you?
Yeah, so we've actually put quite it's sort of like a pancake motor in there.
Yeah.
But it generates 660 Newton meters of torque and about 280 brake horsepower.
That is a spicy pancake.
It certainly is. Revs up to 6,000 RPM.
Yep.
Perfect to go straight onto the prop shaft and do direct drive. It's got 66 kilowatt hour pack in it. So good for at least 200 miles, probably more like 250.
Oh, perfect.
It'll have CCS charging on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So, you want to take wife or girlfriend away for a long weekend, you can go up to Scotland in it.
Give me a call when it's ready. Give me a call when it's ready, it's fine. So you mentioned that the pancake style motor, as you've called it, was from a Fisker?
Yeah, it's Karman Fisker, so it's a Chinese motor.
Chinese motor,
yeah. We buy them in batches of sort of 5. We've got 3 E-types on the go at the moment. So,
oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
And what sort of cost is for the conversion? I'm not talking about the the restoration.
So we've actually restored the front of the car.
Yeah, I guess that, because the condition is spot on.
But the actual conversion itself, about 60,000.
Okay.
CCS a little bit more on it, but that sort of money.
Okay. No, that sounds what it should be. Right.
Good.
Right, that looks great. Thank you for showing us that. So, Nick, this is, part of the mini EV conversion kit that you are developing.
Yep, so we're in the middle of that development process at the moment. We've got, the system's there, we just haven't rigged it up in the car properly yet.
Okay.
So we've got front battery box.
Yep.
We're then going to show you the motor and the subframe over by one of the minis that we're actually playing with. And then we've got a rear battery box. We've got a couple of options on the rear battery box as well, which can either have, so the car can have 22 kilowatt hour,
okay,
or it can have 44 kilowatt hour.
And
that's quite a lot of battery, right?
Yeah, 44. I mean, 22 you said is about 100 mile range, so I'm guessing 44
is 200 miles, which in a Mini is probably more than enough. You want to get out of it by the time you get to the end.
Yeah, and probably quite weighty, so the handling will be quite different.
And it's all over the rear, right? But if you want the range, I think what we're seeing now is 22, 24 kilowatt hour pack with CCS fast charge is probably the way to go. Right. So if you did want to go further, you've got to find a CCS charger, which may be an issue, but at least you've got the opportunity there, right?
Yeah.
That's the internal of the battery. We've got 4 batteries in the front, 5 batteries in the rear.
Right.
As I say, it gets us to about 24 kilowatt hours. We source these from China.
Yeah.
Pretty standard modules, 2.7 kilowatts each, 22 volts. Put the 9 of them together, and you get to about 350, 380 nominal, peak of about 420 volts.
And I think some people may look at this and think, oh, Chinese batteries, all Chinese quality, but I mean, everything battery-wise, everything motor-wise, everything motor-wise that you do, it's all from China, isn't it? And that's where China's
the biggest car market, electric car market in the world, right?
Absolutely.
And you've got to pick your suppliers. Don't get me wrong, right? You don't just buy any old stuff from China.
No.
But we offer a 2-year warranty on all parts.
Yeah.
And 8 years on a battery.
That's fantastic.
I build the batteries.
Yeah.
I control the charger. Therefore, I'm happy. I know what happens to the product. So as long as it's not abused, as long as you don't open it up and start sticking things in there, we'll warranty it, right? So I think that's quite a big plus from our side.
Yeah. Let's go and have a look at the motor.
Yeah, let's go and show you down in the barn, right? In the old Essex barn.
Yeah. So now we're in the barn, and what a magnificent barn it is too. And yeah, I bet it gets a bit colder here in the winter.
It does, it does. We don't tend to work in here. When we first started out, we were in here and it was freezing.
Wow.
But now we've migrated to a cow shed.
Yeah,
and then hopefully we'll move on from there.
And now we're late September and it's, you know, getting the sun cream on already.
Yeah.
We've got mini subframe just here.
Yeah.
And got a mini just there as well.
And behind you.
Oh yeah, just
We've
there.
got minis all over the place.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And tell me about the motor that we've got here.
So this is the motor that we use in most of our conversions, right?
Okay.
Other than the specialised ones that we've got in the Porsche and the E-Type. So this is pretty much our go-to product.
Okay.
It's 310 Newton meters, 120 kilowatts, so about 160 horsepower. And it will suit most cars.
Yeah.
Nice thing about these, if it's too much, you can turn it down.
Right.
And with the control system that we have, we can do different drive modes. Right, so you can have stupid mode, you can have normal mode, you can have eco mode, you can do different throttle pedal mappings, you can do different levels of regen.
Oh,
it's so flexible that we own that software.
What sort of cost are we talking about? Because ultimately, you know, as soon as you hear electric cars, cost is always something that comes into it.
So our kit, the starter kit, is 24,000. You'll get the motor, the inverter, 24 kilowatt hour battery, 7 kilowatt charger. You send us your subframe, we modify it, provide the wiring loom, whole lot, bolt in the car.
So just to add to the subframe down here, what modifications need doing to the subframe? To my untrained eye, it looks like some sort of
so we add
brace.
So this front bar is in there already.
Yeah.
We add some bracing in here because we put a motor mount in, so it's 3-point mount.
Right.
2 off the gearbox, 1 off the back of the motor. We add this frame on the front to hold the battery box, and this one on the rear. So the whole thing, you can bolt it up and just shove it into the car. Bolt your suspension on.
No, thanks for showing us that and the subframe, because I'm sure there's quite a few mini enthusiasts that want to know what goes behind, you know, the strengthening when you're talking serious power like that.
Yeah, we offer different limited slip differentials and all that sort of thing, right? If you need, it's all Quaife in here, right? So we use Quaife differential, Quaife gears.
Right.
So
wow.
Yeah.
Sounds good. And talking about exciting power, shall we go and have a look at that Porsche?
Oh yeah, we still got to drive the Porsche.
Oh yes, let's go.
Let's go and have some fun.
Oh yes, please. Wow, here she is. This looks fantastic, and I bet she goes like stink.
Certainly does. You get to experience it in a minute.
Oh, looking forward to that, definitely. No, thank you for letting us have a go. And yeah, it's probably going to be one of the most exciting electric cars I'm going to drive for a while. I mean, it's definitely more exciting.
I hope so.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's definitely more exciting than any of the four-wheel drive variants of electric cars. Bit of danger, you know, that's what I like, of course. But yeah, tell me about the performance on this car.
So it's a 1982 911 SC.
Okay.
Came from the States.
Right, hence the left-hand drive.
Yeah, hence left-hand drive. Would have had a flat 6 in the back.
Yep.
0 to 60 in probably about 6 seconds, something like that.
Okay.
You know, good for the time.
Yeah.
1980s car. But yeah, it's now got 400 Newton meters. 400
Newton meters, right?
Torque,
okay.
But through a 9-to-1 reduction box.
Right.
Gives us about 4,000 Newton meters at the rear axle.
Okay.
So yeah, 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds.
Wow. I mean, that's RS6 quick. Audi RS6 quick, and that is serious, especially for a rear-wheel drive car.
Yeah. Top speed 130.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, it's realistic for the car.
Yeah.
66 kilowatt hour pack.
Yep.
So 200-mile range, as long as you're not like 0 to 60 the whole time.
And you need that many, that size of battery for the motor.
To be able to, I mean, it draws about 1,000 amps at max power, right? So, yeah, it needs that size of battery to spread the load across the battery.
And the the motor. This is one of the Chinese ones.
Yeah,
that
it's another Chinese motor that
excellent.
we import as well.
And the batteries, where do they come from?
China as well.
Perfect.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to buy British, but to be honest, I can't.
No.
There are a few manufacturers in the UK of electric motors.
Yeah.
But they're 5-6 times the price.
Yeah.
And then it just wouldn't be viable.
No.
So for now, we'll import. But when prices come down in the UK, we'll use British.
What sort of price are we talking for this?
So I haven't got a price for it.
Okay.
We're going to sell it through Design 911.
Design 911, okay.
So if you want a price for it, go talk to Design 911.
The interior is
the interior is
beautiful.
quite nice, isn't it?
I mean, it smells lovely in there. And that's why you don't need the Chargeheads air freshener,
Well, if you give us another one, we'll put it in
Well, I've got a couple in the van.
Yeah.
No, I would love to take it out. Obviously, you go first, and we'll go from there.
Right out.
So this just gives us a little bit of data around the car. We've got the voltage, which is running at 379 at the moment.
Yeah.
How much current we draw, what RPM the motor's doing, what torque it's doing. And then we've got battery management system, telling us what cell voltages are, top and bottom, what temperatures it's running at. DC-DC outputs, onboard charger, what the motor's pulling, and then what the status of certain outputs on the vehicle control module is. Things like, is the pump running, is the fan running, all that sort of thing.
Okay.
So this at the moment is very much a development front end.
Yeah.
So at the moment it says we're not ready to drive, but we're ready to go. And then crank it says it's ready.
Right. Okay.
Drive, we're now in D. You felt the motor engage.
Yes,
right?
I did. Yeah.
We've got a little bit of creep, so it just pulls away as if you're driving an automatic. And then nice and easy.
On the holes.
So the motor does 15,500.
Okay.
And
wow.
4,000 Newton meters at the drive shaft. Oh, sorry, yeah, the drive shaft.
Yeah. I just felt my hair go back like a couple of spaniel ears.
Yeah, it's pretty quick.
Yeah, that is. And what did you say the 0 to 60 was?
3.8.
3.8.
Down to.
Yeah, so it's.
We haven't had the chance to do a standing quarter yet because we're on the road. Got to be sensible.
Well, I'm just outside of Santa Pod, so when you're thinking about it,
ready.
Unless you're going on the Basildon Strip. Yeah, that's lovely. That is.
But it can be as docile as you like, right? You don't have to accelerate hard in it. It's smooth and easy to drive.
That's brilliant.
So you can spin the wheels. Leave a bit of tyre smoke behind.
Yes, it's definitely got the torque. Yeah, it just, like I say, just keeps on pulling. I can imagine it's very addictive to drive.
Problem is, it's point and squirt, right? So you just want to accelerate the whole time.
Jeez, wasn't expecting that. I can smell the rubber now.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Putting in new tyres after not too long.
Yeah, it's. I bet it gets like that. How does it handle with the weight?
Yeah,
I mean, it does feel good. Feels nice and poised.
Well, I just love this thing. It just takes off.
Yeah, it certainly does that.
You know, do you miss the sound of the flat six? Yeah, maybe a little bit, but there's plenty of other noises. There's whines and there's...
Yeah, like you said, it's a different experience.
to be honest.
Right, here we go.
Use the gear. That's it, and then just push. So you can't go forward or reverse until you push it over, and then you go drive.
Okay, so that's the safety feature.
Yeah. So, but it's all the original shifter. We've just restricted it to those positions.
So, okay.
When you're in drive, ready
Mirrors.
to go, handbrake off. All right,
here we go.
right. Yeah, you're good there. Right?
Okay. That is a lovely experience. It feels a little weird to be on the left side for a little while, but
Yeah, you get used to it.
no, it's. I'm trying to describe it. Words fail me because it is great. I love it. It does feel.
I mean, Tesla's faster than this, right?
The what? Sorry.
The Teslas.
Yeah,
Some of the Teslas are faster than this.
Well,
But to be fair, in a 1982 car,
Yeah.
1982. I mean, it's had an upgrade on brakes and suspension and things, right?
Yeah.
So,
And the regen, I feel a bit of regen there. Can you can you adjust that?
Right? Yeah, absolutely. So you're pulling about 33 newton meters.
Yeah, that you can really feel the pull of that there.
But you're regenning. You're putting about 150 amps back into the battery.
Yeah. And is this all legal, road legal, this car?
Yeah, absolutely.
And from a tax point of view, zero. Awesome.
You can go and drive it in London, do some burnouts from the lights.
We'll upset a few people
But
there.
keep going, right? And we'll turn around. But you can drive this really. Well, you can drive it like that, or you can just poodle
Just
along,
relax,
right?
yeah.
And the throttle's really controllable. You don't have to.
No,
it's not all or nothing, right?
No. It does feel quite nimble. I like the way that it feels like the griff because of the steering.
Yeah, steering off centre and starts. You get quite a lot of torque built up. Right?
Have you played around? Have you?
Yeah, they've done a little bit of work, but not. I think you're right. We need to take it to a track and actually check it out there and spend a bit of time with it.
It's very, very addictive, this. And do you know what? I think there's enough of a noise of the motor to keep me engaged.
It's not that intrusive,
No.
but it's relative to the speed. It's about right. Yeah.
Yeah. How does it compare with the I think the only other 911 Porsche are the Everati ones at the moment, aren't they? Maybe.
They're zero EV though, right?
Are they? Yeah, having an electric car with the non-power steering, I think that's got to be a good combination for the petrol heads.
Yeah, absolutely. It gives you the real feel. Because we put more weight on the front though, I think it helps with the handling, but it does make the steering.
Right.
So the original car was 60-40 split, 60% rear weight with that big flat six in there. This is now 52 on the rear, 48 on the front.
Right.
So it's just a little bit more planted into the corners. I mean, the classic thing was always stick a bag of sand in the front of your 911 and make it handle
like in
better.
winter when there's ice on the road.
So that's exactly what we've done with this, effectively. So maybe for a purist, if you're a purist, you probably wouldn't have electric.
No, you wouldn't. That's true.
So
I think maybe a few more purists might have changed their mind after this week with what's going on. It's round to the right, isn't it?
yeah, that's the right.
Come on. just another squeeze of the accelerator pedal before I bring it back. I'm sure it's going to be a while before I drive anything exciting as this from an electric point of view. Oh yeah, I could get into lots of trouble in this car.
That's the problem, right? You will get into a lot of trouble.
But then again, you know, if you take a four-wheel drive electric car, you get a lot more trouble than that, especially from the point of view of, you know, you have to go that much faster to have fun in a four-wheel drive car. Beautiful.
There you go.
That is amazing.
Enjoy that?
Lost for words even. Yeah, it was fantastic. It really, it was as much as I thought and more. It goes like stink. I mean, as soon as you put your foot down, the torque just, as I said in the car earlier, felt like my hair was going back like a couple of spaniel ears. It was, yeah, really kicked me back in my seat. Yeah, can I take it home with me? Is that right?
Yeah, I'm sure if you go and talk to Design 911, they'll let you.
I'll put a quick email in.
Cash.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for letting us drive it. It's amazing. Can you show us under the
show you
bonnet or the fruit, the boot?
Yep. So,
charge
port.
Charge port.
Yeah. That's just type 2 charger on here at the moment, right?
Okay.
But we will be putting CCS in.
Yeah, so there's a CCS option.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not everybody wants or needs CCS. This is the thing. Not everybody needs fast charging.
No, absolutely. So it's a green box.
We love a green box. It does look wonderful. I know, you know, the purists might think, oh, I want to see an engine in there. No, I know there's a few companies out there that are making things look more like an engine inside. Obviously, the engine shouldn't be here because it's a 911.
I mean, it's spare wheel, etc. Right?
Yeah.
So.
No, it's great. So what is actually contained in here? So this is the battery pack?
So this has got the battery pack, it's got the BMS control system in there.
Yep.
And both batteries have got 2 relays.
Yep.
Positive, negative. We've got interlock on all of the connectors. So if you pull anything out, it drops the system out.
Okay.
We've got master service disconnect. It's got
so master service okay, so that's the disconnect on this side.
Yeah, both batteries have got this. So if you actually undo that,
yep,
it just mechanically disconnects the battery.
Perfect.
And then we've got isolation monitoring. So if there's a drop in the isolation across the high voltage pack,
yeah,
you can't engage the battery either.
Okay.
Well, so I mean that's pretty standard in electric car technology.
Yeah.
Right? So
yeah, no,
as safe as we can make it.
Absolutely, and you know this is why I like to highlight companies like yourself that are doing things properly, not only from a quality point of view but also from a safety point of view, because that is paramount when we're talking this sort of build. So yeah, let's have a look in the back.
So let's pop the back.
Beautiful.
And there it is. So this has got, let me get this right, it's got 9 modules in the rear.
9, okay, yep.
And do the maths, 15 in the front. So we've got 24 of the VDA modules in there. And again, exactly the same on here. We've got master service disconnect.
Yep.
This is where the charger comes in. So actually charge it through the back here. And then all the high voltage. This comes off and goes down to the motor.
Right. And it's all plumbed into the original engine mounts?
Yeah, so it all comes off the 2 gearbox mounts at the front into the rear mounts here.
And in terms of the testing, what testing needed to be done to get this through from a safety or a taxable point of view, MOT point of view?
Nothing.
Nothing. Just change it on DVLA.
Change it on DVLA, and then perhaps that's part of the problem with the industry at the moment, right? There is no regulation.
No, or the regulation that there is doesn't
only applies to new cars.
That's
right?
correct. Yeah.
So for the Chesil, we spoke about the Chesil earlier. All of those Westfield cars we've put through IVA.
Yeah.
So we have gone through some level of checking there, right?
Yeah.
And Chesil, North America wants it. So at that point, we'll go through the full ECER 100. So all of the drop tests, fire tests, puncture tests, we'll do all of that on the back.
So when you say fire test, that's as I understand it, setting fire to battery boxes, is it not?
Yeah, so you put the battery box on a metal plate, light the fire underneath it, and it has to last a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Yep.
And any crash, I think isn't there some crash testing as well?
So you can either do a full vehicle crash, which isn't practical for a car like this because it's a one-off test, or there's requirements about distance from the battery box. So you get a set of regulations for the battery box, and then it's how far it is away from the rear of the car or the front of the car. So 300 at the rear, 450 at the front. So where we can, on a conversion, we try and meet that. So pretty much everything we've done, apart from the Mini, because the Mini is really difficult.
Yeah.
Everything else meets
space,
those requirements. And certainly on things like the Westfield, where it's a new product, we've done that. I mean, this meets it as well.
Yeah.
So
okay, cool. So is there any strengthening that needed to be done to the Porsche to make it accept this pack?
One of the commitments that we make to the customer is we don't cut anything on the car.
Yeah.
Right, so the car is completely reversible. I think having driven it, you'd agree that you probably wouldn't want to do that.
No.
But we do make that commitment, right?
Yeah.
So like the E-Type, the only part that we've cut in that is in where the fuel filler was. We've taken that out to put the charge port in.
Okay, yeah.
So two things that really take a lot of time on the car. One is charge port.
Yeah.
Because there's a limited number of places you can put it on the A surface of the car.
Yeah.
Classic one is in the rear, underneath the license plate.
Yep.
Or in the original position, but CCS won't fit up there.
Right.
So that's probably going to go in the back here.
Okay.
The other one is the gear shifter.
Right.
Everyone's very emotional about a gear shifter. So we've got rotary shifters in some of the cars, but people don't like them. They don't look original in the car. Right?
Hence
so
why you've got
car, so we've just restricted the motion in there. So it's just drive, neutral, reverse.
Yeah. No, I did quite like that actually. Yeah.
Well, it's got the original feel to it, right?
Yeah.
So,
No,
so we spend quite a lot of time on that. Probably disproportionate, actually, but it makes it, they're not cheap conversions. I understand that, and that adds to just that little bit of extra.
Keeping some of the character that people feel that they might be missing.
Yeah.
And I think this is it, and this is why a lot of petrol heads, it's an absolute wouldn't touch with a barge pole, is because they're losing some of the theatre and some of the things that they're used to, because like a lot of us, we like to hark back onto older classics. I'm certainly one of those people. I think it's just been a bit more accepting about all the different technologies and just seeing the benefits for in each case.
Yeah.
But no, thank you for sharing this. Looks
no problem.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right, so thank you so much, Nick, for showing us your cowshed and some amazing things you're doing with EcoClassics and obviously your beautiful Porsche. And I'm hoping you can keep me up to date with all the
the other stuff that we've got coming.
Excellent.
Come back to see our Lotus when we start that.
You're not far away from us.
No.
And just jump in the Chargeheads wagon. We'll be with you for a cup of tea.
Good. Well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Good man. Thank you. That's it for now, Chargeheads. I hope you've enjoyed the EcoClassics and all their wonderful toys, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.